Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are across this great wide world of ours. I'm going to do a couple of videos today. One's on defunding the BI, and the other one is going to be on positive thinking. So my throat's been quite dry the last couple of days. But anyway, the this is an issue that I had somebody talk to me today. I went to the grocery store. Somebody saw me, and everybody in the community, especially where I used to work at a nonprofit, used to call me Dr. B. Someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, Dr. B, how you doing?" Blah blah. And I said, "Fine." But they asked me a question about positive thinking because they said, you're always so upbeat and and see things in a different light and think of it as a positive situation and learning opportunities a positive situation and growing from that. And what I told the person is more about when I think about positive thinking, how I thought about this today, is it boils down to three things. It's discipline, being proactive, as I like to say, or it's also about practicing being positive, because really and then the third one is evaluation. So it's really disciplined, practice, and evaluation. And this goes with Eric Erickson's theory of the mind, that when you have a situation and there's a negative situation in the mind, what you got to do is take that negative situation and replace it with a positive. And the issue becomes, how do you do that? And part of that evaluation is being disciplined and also being able to see the situation as it is and not make the situation worse than it is. And to be honest with you, people, it's very difficult. It's a difficult situation. And it's not, it just takes practice. And sometimes it's hourly practice. In case in point, for example, I have a tendency to beat up on myself about things. And right now I'm looking at doing some additional courses in risk management, especially on water. And because I really want to work on, number one, get a job with the government, at least for 5 years, and then going from there. Or the situation is working on a tribe or tribal situation. And so some of this issues is getting resumes out, keeping following up, follow throughs, et cetera. So the issue becomes being disciplined about this. And it's not really easy work, because you got to be disciplined. And it's the same way, like I said, with me taking some classes online. You got to be disciplined. You can't create this. It has to be something that you're willing to do. So in other words, you can't do it one day and not do it the next day. So it's just being disciplined out of it. And the only way you do this is practice it every day. And that's leads me into the number two thing, is practice. You got to practice it every day. Sometimes you even have to practice it hourly, because I thought something was on my screen. It's actually look like a bug or something, but you got to practice it, and you just can't take things for granted. And like in the past, I would take things for granted, and you have to just practice. It's one thing that a friend of mine and I used to say, a colleague, when I was at the University of Arizona Global Campus. One of my colleagues we would talk, and when it would be working on some Toastmaster things, I would always tell, when I was the president of Toastmasters for University of Arizona Global Campus, that everything turned out to be practice. And that's the situation in life. Everything has to be practice. You just can't assume that you're going to be able to articulate your point. Some people can, and they're blessed with that, can think fast off their feet, which is a gift from God. And Some people cannot do that. So the situation becomes you got to practice that. So, and finally, the final thing is you when you discipline and you're working with things and you're practicing and you come up with a solution on how you're doing this positive thinking. Say, for instance, you get rid of negative thoughts, or you're in the process of losing weight and you've got to get rid of like things, which is a daily struggle with me, especially losing weight, is that you have to evaluate. You have to evaluate and figure out what works, what didn't work, why it didn't work. It's most the same thing that I take in a class in ethical issues, ethical law, is you have to evaluate and say what worked, what didn't work, and how do you move from there. So in other words, you evaluate and say what worked, why didn't it work, and then move forward on it. So, and sometimes this can be an hourly thing, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And some things it has to be, it's got to at least be done on a daily basis. You got to evaluate and say what worked, what didn't work, and then move forward with that. And that helps with positive thinking. And then when you get a negative thought in there, you have to think, well, people say, well, they start thinking about what is the worst case scenario on it. And it's not so much the worst case scenario, is just, you just have to push it out. It's almost like a drain that's clogged and you've got it, that's partially clogged. You have to work it out. You got to sometimes take a plunger. You may need to take a snake to go down into the pipe to loosen it up, and then just keep pushing until you open it up completely. And that's the same thing with when you're evaluating. You see something that's, for instance, saying, "Oh, this negative thought keeps coming to my mind." For instance, "Oh, I have a bad experience dating people." Well, then the goal here is, why is that? Why do you think you're dating the wrong people? And then you evaluate this. It's a situation where I myself thought I was attracting the wrong type of people. So I stepped back and said, this is how I want to do things. And things are set on my terms in the beginning. And then once you become a couple, it's not necessarily he or she or he, but it's as a couple. So it's more or less based on empathy. And I wrote about increase empathy, increase self-esteem, which is available on Amazon. So it becomes the evaluation part of this aspect. So anyway, to summarize this, the three things that make a positive thinking is discipline, practice, and evaluation. So take this all in and do what you can with it and move forward with it. And like I said, for me, it's sometimes a daily basis where I have to do, because right now I'm making changes, and then it's evaluating where do I want to be a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year. Part of this is your goals and objectives in life. For instance, I'm setting an appointment up with my advisor next week, because it's like I'm getting to that point where it's saying, well, where do you want to take this? Where do you want to take these classes? So anyway, please like and subscribe at the bottom down there. Like and subscribe at the bottom. Have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at bthomasmillerpsych. That's bthomasmillerpsych at gmail.com. Once again, that's bthomasmillerpsych at gmail.com. Remember, also, I have books available. They're available online on Amazon. They're self-published books. And they're under B. Thomas Miller and also Boyd T. Miller. Like I said a few minutes ago, one book I do have, Increase Empathy, Increase Self-Esteem. Latest book that I did do is Water Quality on the Reservation. Right now I have one that I'm working on, Abundance. Hopefully I'll have that out by the first of the year. Anyway, folks, I hope you have a great day, and we'll be talking to you real soon. Thanks, and take on the day. Bye.